We wanted to take a little bit of a look at some of the ballot measures as well, because there were some really interesting ones. Speaking of abortion, every single state where it was on the ballot, from California to Kentucky, the pro-choice position on these ballot initiatives, and I think there were 5 of them, looks set to win. So a clean sweep for abortion rights in states as different as, you know, Montana and Michigan and California and Kentucky. You had a consistent result here. Now, some of these haven't been called yet, so they're still a little bit in doubt, but right now it looks like every single abortion referendum is going to end on the pro-choice side.
That is so insane.
Stunning, right?
I mean, yeah. Well, look, Michigan, it wasn't close again. It actually, shocker, very closely mirrors the gubernatorial results, 55-44, almost exactly the margin that Gretchen Whitmer. I think the major one is Kentucky. I mean, they're at 51.4 to 48.6 on removing the right to an abortion from the Kentucky state constitution. So, I mean, that is, look.
Very religious, conservative state.
You tell me,
there.
you lived in Kentucky. Yeah. It's not like it's not a swing state. Rand Paul won by like 20 points. He was declared the winner the moments after the polls closed.
Yeah.
To have abortion there, win like this, I mean, look, if I was a GOP strategist, I might ask some questions, but they won't. You're really not going to hear what I'm saying from anyone even tangentially on the right. I'm already taking a sampling of it. They're all in on the candidate quality Trump stuff, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying
that doesn't
matter, but I mean, clearly the abortion one, when you're losing in Kentucky and you're losing in Kansas, that's pretty humiliating.
Well, remember that New Yorker piece that before Election Day we dug into that was like the GOP insider case for why they think there's going to be this massive red wave.
Yes.
And their explanation was basically like, we didn't figure out what to do on the abortion issue. Like, we never came up with an answer. We just rode that out, and it diminished in importance. Well, obviously it didn't. Obviously that theory of the case did not ultimately work out. So they're sort of, even in their rosiest projections, outright admitting we didn't really figure out how to deal with this issue. And so, you know, when you had people that were out there saying, hey, we're going to do a national abortion ban, you are effectively putting this on the ballot in almost every single state. And I do continue to think that the reason why New York was better for Republicans than other places in the country is because people did not feel that it was at risk.
I think you're right,
in that state in particular.
I don't really think how you could think otherwise, to be honest.
That's the only explanation I can really figure out.
And Florida, too.
Hochul did win, and Republicans thought they had a shot at that governor's mansion in New York. But Lee Zeldin, I mean, he did do a lot better there than Republicans have been doing. It's like 5 points or something like that he's down.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and check that right now for Lee Zeldin. So New York is one of those where, 52.8 to Lee Zeldin's 47. So about 4.
So, I mean, she wins comfortably, but that's not, Chuck Schumer won by 20 points or something like that. I mean, it's like not in doubt at all. So, all right, couple more ballot initiatives we have here. Weed was on the ballot in a number of states. Mixed bag here. Arkansas says no to legalizing marijuana. Maryland says yes. Missouri says yes. And North Dakota and South Dakota say no. So wins in Maryland and Missouri. Interesting, Missouri. Losses in Arkansas, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So a bit more of a partisan divide there. You had the minimum wage on the ballot in Nevada. That increase in the minimum wage in Nevada, and I think there was another one in Nebraska also. Voters were voting on increasing the minimum wage. Those both won as well. So there were some, there was one other in Illinois that I found really interesting, which was they were voting to enshrine in the Constitution a ban on passing right-to-work legislation, which is like anti-union legislation. And so the pro-labor position ultimately passed in Illinois. Now, Illinois is a very democratic state, but that still was one that was interesting to me.
Oh, I think you're right, Krystal. I mean, it's interesting on the ballot initiative front to look at that. And I think Ryan talked about, what was it, in Colorado, that was also psychedelics. That one came through, so he was saying that that could have had some sort of an impact. On the sports betting one, kind of interesting that California voted against in-person sports betting at casinos and licensed racetracks. That was one where, if anyone has been following this, sports betting has been like on the rise massively across the country in apps, DraftKings, Barstool, all this other stuff. So I don't know why that one stuck out to me, and I was like, huh, that's That's pretty crazy because the other one, which was legalizing online sports betting, also was voted down at like a historic margin. So I don't have a big meta commentary. I'm saying that's
just interesting.
I wouldn't have expected that personally.
One more ballot initiative for you, Medicaid expansion. As part of Obamacare was on the ballot in South Dakota, and that passed. And More Perfect
that's a big
Union
deal, actually.
says that will extend health care coverage to 42,000 more working class residents of the state of South Dakota. Obviously, Obamacare used to be totally politically polarized.
Yes.
Now, with time, I guess people have moved on from that particular hard polarization, and they saw this as a good thing, and ultimately
You're telling me GOP boomers, even when stripped of the culture war, are like, yeah, I'll take that.
I'll take the health care.
I'll take that health care. Please go ahead and give it. Just don't put Obama's name on it, and I'll take those sweet subsidies all day long.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing, and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.